All right, we are on chapter 2, lesson 2, page 101, percents and fractions. All right, should look something like this. All right, our essential question today, when is it better to use a fraction, a decimal, or a percent? We're going to be talking about that. Our objectives today is turning those percents and fractions into one another, fractions to percents, percents to fractions. All right, we're going to get going on this. We're going to start here with our real world link. Our real world link talks about students who are asked to choose their favorite sport to play. And it says for each sport, shade a 10 by 10 grid that represents the number of students out of 100 that chose a sport. So my lines are not near as nice and clean and dark as yours. But if we look here, we've got these straight up and down columns, and then we've got a bunch of numbers in between. My boxes don't show up, but there is a line here, and there's all these boxes just like yours to make 100, okay? So 3 out of 20. 3 out of 20. So if we look at 3 out of 20, it looks like every one of these rectangles here is 20. So you got 20. Oh, that's terrible. Why my writing is not very good now. 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. So each one of these represents 20. Well, if 3 out of 20, let's go 1, 2, 3 squares up, shade those in. Here's another 20. Every 3 out of 20. So all I'm doing is shading in, and I know I'm doing it kind of quickly. All I'm doing is shading in 3 out of 20 people that like basketball. For football, 3 out of 25. And here they have it set up in a nice squares. And since this whole thing is 100, each one is 25, because 25, 50, 75, 100. Okay? And 3 out of every 25 like football. So let's find 3 in each 25 square. You can go up or down, sideways, whichever way you want to do it. All right, so 3 out of 25 like football. All right, 1 out of 20. Well, here again, they've got it split in these lines already for us in the 20s. So we just have to shade in one box in each one of the 20s. So here's a box. 1 out of this 20 likes it. 1 out of this 20 likes gymnastics. 1 out of this 20 likes gymnastics. I like gymnastics. Alright. 1 out of 20. Then this one, swimming 9 out of 100. So they didn't break this grid up at all because this entire grid equals 100. So we just have to go out and count 9. Whichever way you want to, top, bottom, doesn't matter, find 9 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This right here, 9 out of 100 represents swimming. Now, in each one of these grids, you realize that you're out of 100 because 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 25, 50, 75, 100, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, and this one's just a whole 100 once. So we can figure out how many out of 100 for all of them. So let's look at what fraction with the denominator of 100 represents the number of students who chose each sport. Alright, so let's go back and look at basketball. We've got 3 in each one, so let's count by threes. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. So 15 out of 100. For football, We've got 3 in each box, right? 3. So 3, 6, 9, 12. 12 out of 100, like football. For gymnastics, we got to count what we shaded. So got 1 out of 20, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 100. I think that is ridiculously low. Everyone loves gymnastics. And for swimming, we circled 9, or we shaded 9 out of 100, so 9 out of 100. So which one here is the most popular sport? It is basketball. Basketball, then football, then swimming, then gymnastics. All right, let's look at our mathematical practices. What did we do here? We definitely modeled because we had to fill in all those charts and graphs. We used our mathematical tools. We had to be precise to shade in the right numbers, right? And I think we made use of structure. I think that was a really good way to look at percents and fractions. I could argue we use repeated reasoning as well. If you're thinking that one, I agree. Because we have to reason that each one is 100 and how many out of 100. All right, if you need to pause to catch up, please do so at any time. We are moving on to page 102. All right, page 102, a percent is a ratio that compares a number to 100. A number to 100. All right, when we look at a percent out of 100, they give us 45%, which is 45 out of 100. Any percent is always out of 100, okay? So you could either, and in mine again is really light, but here in your book, all this is shaded in, showing 45 out of 100 is shaded in. Or if you want to do it on a number line, you would see here, here's 50, so 45 is right between here, 45% out of 100. Okay, percents are always out of 100. So for example, if we want to write 50% as a fraction, it's going to be out of 100. It's always going to be out of 100. So they wrote 50 out of 100, and then they reduced it, dividing them both by 50, and that's how they got 1/2. Because 50 goes into 50 once. What do you do on the top? Do on the bottom. 50 goes into 100 twice. Okay? Then they give us another example. In a recent survey, 55% of cell phone users said they text message. What fraction of cell phone users is this? 55%, 55 out of 100. And then I believe they reduced, probably dividing by 5. And that's how they got 11 out of 20. So divide by 5 on the top and the bottom, and you would get 11/20, which is what they gave you right here. So all you have to do with percents is write them over 100. 75% is just 75 over 100, and then reduce it. Think about quarters here, 75 cents and $1. 25 cents can go into both of those. What you do on the top, good, you do on the bottom. So how many quarters are in 75 cents? 3. How many quarters are in $1? 4. So your answer is 3/4. Try the last two on your own. Write them over 100 and reduce them when you can. And I'm going to go over them in 5, 4, no cheating, pause it and try. I'll ask as you try. 3, 2, 1. All right, 90 over 100. Reduce it. I know I can divide both these by 10, right? Any number ending in 0 can divide by 10. We get 9 tenths. And we're done. 9 tenths. 38 over 100. Well, they both end in an even, so it's got to at least divide by 2. Let's see. Would be 38 divided by 2. 19 over 50. Divided by 2 on the top, divided by 2 on the bottom. Use that multiplication chart if you need to. And we get 19/50. Reducing is going to be the hardest part of this one. And just write them over 100, reduce them when you can. Okay? Alright, if you have questions, stop. If you don't know how I got an answer, stop and ask, or ask the instructor near you. How did they get this answer? Back it up and watch it again. See if you can catch it before we move on. Now is your chance to pause. We're moving on to page 103. I just got this little bit left here. Alright, the table shows a percent of each movie type rented during the month. What fraction of the rentals were action movies? Well, all they did was they went down and found action, and they saw that it was 35%. So they wrote 35 over 100, and they reduced by dividing by 5. I hate that they don't show you that. Divide by 5 on the top and the bottom, and you get 7 out of 20.